Assalamu alaikum wa rahmatullahi wa barakatuh. Alhamdulillah wa salatu wa salamu ala rasulillah. Welcome to another episode of Islamic Peace Discussions. And today we're going to go through the Quran and ancient Babylon. And in particular, we're going to zone in on Prophet Ibrahim alayhi salatu wassalam. So, Prophet Ibrahim alayhi salatu wassalam, is from Iraq. And in Iraq, they worshipped, multiple gods, particularly stars and planets. And each city would have is a patron god, a main god. And these were mainly three gods. The first one was known as Nana, which was the moon god, and it was symbolized by a crescent. And it was worshipped in two places. In one place which was called Ur, and another place which was called Haran. So the moon god Nana, which was symbolized by a crescent, was worshipped at Ur and Haran. The second god was called Shamash, and this is the god of the sun. How do we know this? Is because it was symbolized by a solar dish, and it was worshipped at two places. These two places were called Sipar and Larsa. And then lastly we have the Ishtar, which was Venus. How do you know this? It's an 8-pointed star, and it was worshipped at a place called Uruk. I will go later in the video, I'll talk a little bit more about Ishtar and how we know it's Venus, because obviously 8-pointed star might not be enough evidence. But just before we do that, we're just going to look at some artifacts that prove that these three celestial bodies existed. Now, according to Mesopotamian mythology, these three celestial bodies, they form something called an astral triad. Now, how do you know this? They're in various artifacts. For example, the Kuduru, which was of King Melishipak, and this is the artifact. It depicts an astral triad of the three celestial bodies that I spoke about. Also, the Kuduru of Nebuchadnezzar, which also shows the astral triad again of Nana, Shamash and Ishtar. Now, what does the Quran say about Prophet Ibrahim alayhi salam? So if we go to chapter 6, Surah An'am, verse 76, Allah subhanahu wa ta'ala says that Ibrahim alayhi salam is talking about the story of Ibrahim alayhi salam, and what he's saying is فَلَمَّا جَنَّ عَلَيْهِ اللَّيْلُ رَأَى كَوْكَبًا قَالَ هَذَا رَبِّي. That when the night grew dark upon him, he saw a star and said that هَذَا رَبِّي, this is my Lord. فَلَمَّا أَفَلَ قَالَ لَا أُحِبَّ الْآفِلِينَ. But when it set, he said, I do not love things that set. The following verse continues with the story and says, فَلَمَّا رَأَى الْقَمَرَ بَازِغًا قَالَ هَذَا رَبِّي. That when he saw the moon rising this time, he said, this one is my Lord. But then فَلَمَّا أَفَلَ قَالَ لَئِن لَّمْ يَهْدِنِي رَبِّي لَأَكُونَنَّ مِنَ الْقَوْمِ الضَّالِّينَ. But when the moon disappeared, he said, if my Lord does not guide me, I will certainly be one of the misguided people. Again, showing that he does not take the moon as a god. Then lastly he says فَلَمَّا رَأَى الشَّمْسَ بَازِغَةً قَالَ هَذَا رَبِّي هَذَا أَكْبَرُ. That when he saw the sun rising this time, he said, this must be my Lord, it is the greatest. هَذَا أَكْبَرُ. فَلَمَّا أَفَلَتْ قَالَ يَا قَوْمِ إِنِّي بَارِئٌ مِّمَّا تُشْرِكُونَ. But again, when it said, he declared, O my people, I totally reject whatever you associate with Allah in worship. So therefore, it's showing that he was also worshipping where his people were worshipping a astral triadic, god with three celestial bodies. Now, if you go back to verse 76, where he says, فَلَمَّا جَنَّ عَلَيْهِ اللَّيْلُ رَأَى كَوْكَبًا. Now, this word كَوْكَبًا, when the night grew dark upon him, he saw a star. كَوْكَبًا actually means a celestial object, and it can mean star or it can mean planet. Broadly, what is referring to is a celestial object, the word كوكبة. Now, if we take it as Venus, also Ishtar was known as the evening star, and the time that it's talking about فَلَمَّا جَنَّ عَلَيْهِ اللَّيْلُ, when the night started growing upon him, when it started getting dark. So this is showing that it appeared to him at evening, just when it started getting dark. And Venus also it comes during the evening. It's the evening star, and it stays for a little while and it goes, we can see. Therefore, showing that Ishtar was actually Venus, and is being referred to here where it says فَلَمَّا جَنَّ عَلَيْهِ اللَّيْلُ رَأَى كَوْكَبًا, chapter 6, verse 76. Therefore, the Quran, the Quran does show that, does agree with the Mesopotamian mythology of an astro-triadic god. Now, what the amazing thing is that this history was lost to us for centuries. It was lost to us. We didn't know about this stuff until the 20th century, which is very recently. We found out about this stuff through the excavation efforts of archaeologists such as Sir Leonard Woolley, and it was found particularly in the temple called Ziggurat of Ur, and we found, which was actually buried under sand, and it was only recently in the 20th century when we found out about it. And that's how we found out that these people, the people of Abraham, they used to worship astro-triadic god. So how can the Quran know this 1400 years ago, when you had all knowledge of this, history, this rich history? It was lost to us. There was no way you could, someone writing 1400 years ago could know that the people of Abraham worshipped an astro-triadic god, which shows that the Quran was divinely revealed due to this amazing and shocking historical accuracy. Wassalamu alaikum wa rahmatullahi wa barakatuh.